Hello, everybody. This is Sree from BizBuzz, What Matters the Most in Your Business, sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a all-in-one software platform for running and managing your business, particularly catering to service-based small businesses all over the world. If you have not heard about it, get a look at it, myworkbelt.com. And today I have guest Craig Andrews. Craig Andrews is a principal ally at alliesforme.com, and they are located in Texas, and they are masters in marketing high ticket, high trust items. If your product or service falling into one of those two, I recommend you do reach out to them and be able to get some help on marketing your product. And speaking of that, Craig, how are you doing today?
Sure, I'm doing wonderfully. It's a delight to be here again.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Craig, we were talking in the green room before a few minutes ago. There are so much evolution happen in marketing space, and I thought you will be the best person to talk about how the marketing is changed. So can you give me, I don't know, take us back 50 years ago or 100 years ago? What is a marketing look like? And then give us a little bit forward, step forward to, and is what is it marketing look like today? But I'm saying marketing look like marketing techniques and strategies, not necessarily the mindset of the human being. That doesn't change.
Right. Yeah. Well, and since we're going back 100 years, let me give a quote by Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Henry Ford said, "Those that would cut advertising to save money are like those that would stop their watch to save time."
Yes.
And and I see that all the time. So I think one thing that hasn't changed is Henry Ford saw that, 100 years ago,
Yes.
where people were like, well, times are tight, things, we're going to cut the marketing budget. And he was
Yes.
basically saying that's stupid. So whether it was Henry Ford saying it then or me quoting Henry Ford, if you are saying, hey, the economy is tough, so we're going to cut advertising, that's not your best choice. So
No.
that hasn't changed in 100 years. But if you think about where and I don't know if I'm fully qualified to answer that, but if we go back 100 years, you basically had print. You had I'm trying to think when the advent of radio was, when people really started listening. Certainly, certainly in the 30s, the 1930s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, President Roosevelt, FDR, would have his fireside chats.
Right.
So there's the early day of radio. So you move from previously you only had print or signs, or today we would call
Mm-hmm.
that billboards, and then you introduced radio, and then after radio came television, and the newspaper, the radio, and the television and billboards. Those were the main places that you advertised
And the
for,
mailing too.
in
The
the mailings.
mailers
Yeah,
come all the
mailers.
time. Even till today, there's mailers coming into my house,
Or magazines, but
magazines.
that stayed really constant. If you think about that, that stayed really constant for what, 60 years?
Yeah. See, despite a lot of technological advancement is happened, we think old marketing techniques will go away. Not necessarily true in my observation, isn't it? See,
No, we talked about radio when that came in. A lot of people think radio is dead. Oh, nobody's listening to radio anymore. That's not true. I know
yes.
people who advertise primarily on radio and build very, very big businesses advertising on radio.
Exactly, exactly. The radio. And take the case of billboards. When billboards originally, if you look at billboards 100 years ago, there was a billboard. And even till today, there are billboards. They're not going away. And
No.
mails, snail mail, yes, they are more or less disappeared, but that doesn't mean they're gone. Why? Because the mail person is still bringing the mail. I don't know, you call it as advertisement or you call it as junk mail. they are still coming into my mailbox every day, right?
Yeah.
If there is no value to those, why would the people continue using them,
Right. Right.
right? I mean, if it is one company is using the snail mail and nobody else is using it, I understand. But when I look at my mail every day, there is at least a half a dozen companies consistently sending the mails.
Yeah.
Could be local grocery stores, or it could be car dealers, or it could be newspaper, or it could be value mail. The coupons, they're all coming in the mail, right?
Yep. Yeah. And so, it's hard to think of the technology that's so old that it doesn't work. You know, radio still works, mail still works, television still works. Now, some of these are expensive. Television's a very expensive medium. Um, I remember when it was outrageous to spend a $500,000 on a 30-second spot for the Super Bowl, and now
Uh-huh,
I think
that's
it's
true.
like now I think it's like 2, 3, 4 million, maybe 5 million for a 30-second spot.
I see. Now, see, um, despite all these things, right, there are another mechanism came in between, which is email marketing.
Right.
Now that email marketing became wildly popular, and now tell me, is it really still works, or what is its status right now on the email marketing?
Well, not only does email marketing still work, but I would say that everybody should be curating a email list.
Yeah.
I think you probably got an email from me this morning.
Yes.
That we send one out every week, and one of the reasons for that is it's a platform you own and you control. So there are people that I was talking to somebody last Friday, and he says entire business is built on Facebook. If Facebook decided they didn't like him or went away, his business would crumble.
Indeed, indeed.
And because Facebook's a platform that you don't own, you're kind of even if you're an advertiser, you're a guest on that platform.
Absolutely, you're a guest on that platform.
Yeah.
You're depending on, see, more or less all these platforms that are newly evolved in the technology space, you're depending on those platforms.
Yeah.
Take the case of social media that is newly evolved, and you are depending on that platform. And these giants, social media giants, they can kick you out anytime and they can cancel. I mean, take the case of my own experience. One point of time, I had nearly a dozen different positive reviews on my Google Maps account. And
Hmm.
one fine day, I came in and there's none. My
Yeah.
Google Maps account itself is gone. And no matter what I do, there is no response from the Google because I'm not paying for them and there is no obligation for them to respond.
Right. Well, and here's an example. I don't know what they're up to now, but Yelp,
Yeah.
about 10 years ago, Yelp um, they basically said, if you want to be found anywhere on our platform, you have to advertise.
Oh, that's true. That's actually, in my opinion, is really not an ethical business practice, but we are not going there.
No, and I mean, well, and what I would tell my clients, I would say, if Yelp ever calls and they ask you if you want to move to a paid plan, you never say no because never confirmed. It was never confirmed, but there was a lot of evidence that if you told them no to that question, they'd flip a switch and you'd be buried in Yelp.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, you never tell them no. You always say, well, hey, that's interesting. Can you share some information with me? Because as soon as they heard a no, it seemed like those businesses just disappeared on Yelp. Yeah, so
Yeah.
not very ethical. But that's back the point of that is that's a platform that you don't control. It was controlled by Yelp. And when they got to this point where they decided they were going to do this, sure, it's unethical, but They had a huge
Well,
sway
they own the
over.
platform and they can do whatever they want. It doesn't mean that you have a right to do complain about it or you have right to do anything about it. Now,
Yep.
see, moving on from, see, email marketing still works, but not as popular as it was 15 years ago.
Right.
And there are so many constraints added by these mail service providers that it
Hmm.
is making it enormously difficult for you to reach your audience unless somebody particularly subscribe to you on your own. And even then, there is no guarantee that you're going to reach their inbox. Now, that's one thing. Second part, that now the social media marketing kicked in, and now you are depending on the platform's mercy. You're on the mercy of the platform's rules and regulations, and that can change any moment of time. Now, let me take one step forward. Newly, the artificial intelligence tools are coming up all over.
Hmm.
ChatGPT, Claude, and DeepSeek, no matter what. Right now, there is no big money they're asking for. And they're all saying that we are very socially responsible and conscious, and we are trying to bring the truth. We are not going to manipulate anything to the visitors. But we all know that at some point of time, they have to monetize it. Otherwise, they're not going to survive. So, what is your take on it? How do you foresee they are going to monetize it?
They're going to have some type of ad platform,
Yeah.
and it's going to be really powerful. I had somebody sent me an email today. I mean, funny that you bring this up. Somebody sent me an email today, and it was a prompt to give ChatGPT, and it says, "Start with, based on what you know about me, if I were a fictional character or a public figure, who would I be and why? What's a strong point of view I hold that most people need to hear?" It goes on and asks all these questions, and the fact is, I was looking at that. I was like, these AIs, they're building up profiles on everybody.
Hmm.
And as soon as you have a well-developed profile for somebody, you can start doing targeted ads.
You can. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not they're not there for doing a charity for the society.
No,
They are a profit making companies. They are not non-profits. As of right now, none of these artificial intelligence companies are making profits that at
yeah,
least I know of. Right now, we know the same story before. Facebook never made profits to begin with.
right.
Even after until they go into IPO, they were not really a profitable company, but they went into IPO and now they're making profits, whatnot. But why they did it? Because they want to have the users on their platform massive enough that they can control the narrative
Hmm.
and they can provide the value for the advertisers to come in and advertise on that platform. And then finally they became profitable.
Yep.
I Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the artificial intelligence tools also following the same footprints. Am I right?
No, I think so. Well, and that was kind of my point of reading that was it's the AI tools in the early days of Facebook, they were building up data
Correct.
on all the users until they could sell that data to advertisers or sell
Yes.
access to very specific audiences. I think without a doubt, ChatGPT and the others are going to do it. And because the reality, back to your question about are they suffering a loss, it costs a lot more money to deliver a chat response than
Hmm.
it does to deliver an ad
Yes.
or to deliver a search. So if you go into Google and say, you know, good Philly cheesesteaks in Austin,
Yeah.
that takes about this amount of energy. To go into ChatGPT and ask for the same thing, it takes significantly more energy.
It's easily 5 times, if not 10 times more energy.
Right. Well, somebody has to pay for that energy.
Correct.
And so I think it's going to come in the form of as they develop deeper and better profiles on people, they could offer even more focused
Targeted.
ads.
So if I'm understanding correctly from our discussion today, so the artificial intelligence, so the advertisement went from no control of the advertiser over somebody who is advertising or a society. It was a pure vanilla. You take a platform, either it's a newspaper or a billboard or anything. You, as a business, you go advertise it, and purely it goes into the market and you get the responses. There's no manipulation is involved. Although those vanilla vehicles are still available, but technology platforms have taken a lot more dominance in the marketing space.
Yeah.
But those technology companies, such as Facebook, Google, or anything, they are building the user profile and they are giving a lot more targeted audience to the businesses.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
as we go furthermore, we are looking at artificial intelligence tools. They are in the works of building the profiling of the users. And once they have mass enough profiles built in, they can go and do the target audience, target advertisements, same as social media or search engine advertisements. Am I
Yep.
in the right path here?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent.
So,
That's wonderful. Craig, thank you very much for sharing that knowledge. And it's a wonderful dialogue as always. And although it's such a small topic, I'm sure audience are enjoying the dialogue, and I'm sure they have taken away some valuable perspective here. So watch out. The artificial intelligence tools are not meant and available for free. And what they are doing right now is building the profile. Whether it's good or bad or ugly, we don't know, but certainly they have to make money at some point of time. Let's not ignore the fact all these big companies are investing billions of dollars into building these artificial intelligence tools. And at some point of time, they're going to come back and, hey, how am I going to monetize this?
yep.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show and you see the valuable content coming out from there, from our episodes here. And if you have not subscribed it, I would highly recommend you to subscribe and like us and share the content with your fellow entrepreneurs so we all can collectively learn and move forward. Craig, thank you very much for being on the show as usual.
Sree, thank you. It's been a delight.